Welcome to this channel. Don't forget to like, to share, and also to subscribe. Wike versus Yerima. Mr. President, fix the mess that indiscipline, arrogance have created around you. Who said this? Show me. One of the PDP chieftains, Segun Show has advised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to rein in certain of his advisors because of their public demeanor. He made his declaration in a post he made on Thursday, November 2025, using his official X handle. This comes following a confrontation between military men and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. In some Wike, according to Segun Showunmi's tweet, the president should never be silent on matters of this kind. He asserted that the president's silence will be seen as endorsement for the action. It is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's responsibility to address the lack of discipline and hubris among his advisors. According to Segun Showunmi, everything that occurs during his presidency, he claimed, will be remembered by history. Segun Showunmi's official X handle reads as follows: "This needs fixing, Mr. President. Put an end to the chaos that your lack of self-control and haughtiness has brought about. Take care of it before the hushed annoyance builds into a raging inferno. Silence and bravery, rather than the clamor of your supporters, will be remembered by history. You are the president of a country, not the director of a tasteless kit. Yet your presidency is increasingly being portrayed as a daily show of unrestrained bravado and misplaced priorities. This cannot continue. Leadership is not about control, it is about character. It is about knowing when to speak and when to act, when to correct and when to protect. Let this be a reminder, in case the comforts of power have clouded perspectives. The true purpose of office is service, not spectacle. The people are watching. The murmurs of anger across the land are growing louder. Mr. President, fix this. Fix the mess that indiscipline and arrogance have created around you. Fix it before the muffled frustration becomes a storm too loud to contain. Mr. President, at official bar, cry me a river. He said, Mr. President, it is time to face the truth. Let us not romanticize our greatness as a people. For what good is pride when the nation itself is weary? Even the most hopeful among us are beginning to surrender to despair, not because they do not love this country, but because the burden of disappointment has become too heavy to bear. What the nation needs now is intentional leadership. Leadership that inspires, restores dignity, and gives the people a reason to believe again. We do not need theatrics. We do not need another speech. We need action that reflects empathy, responsibility, and respect for the people you swore to serve. Those were the submission of Otumba Segun Showunmi, the convener of the alternative. He has been speaking, on the matter that happened between the FCT minister Nyesom Wike and the young military officer that stood that against him, trying to enforce the law on a particular land that was purchased by a former chief of naval staff. And the young military officer that was asked to stay there, I think it's a lieutenant, had to, stood his ground against the minister of the Federal Capital Territory. And for Mr. Segun Shomi, he felt that this ought not to be. Maybe he's trying to talk towards the high-handedness of some ministers like the likes of Wike, based on his own opinion anyway, believing that some of the steps that Wike has been taking so far in the FCT, many of them are confrontational. Yes, it might not, be okay or be well, with the people in question. But another aspect of it is that many of the people too don't want to leave, don't want to do the needful. I think there is a particular news recently that the Minister of Aviation had to say that some people are living within the security space of the airport, and the accommodation they are occupying, they supposed to accommodate some of the staffs and then some ancillary units that these particular services are required, and is supposed to be within arm's length to the airport. And some of these units couldn't, have space because some people said they bought those properties, and the president has given a memo as regards that now. And Professor Keyamo was now making a press statement as regards that one. And now, but the difference between the two now is that Aniyesan Wike visited the place. But who knows what Keyamo will eventually do about it, even though he has made an announcement now concerning the matter. So what Mr. Segun Shomi is trying to tell us is that Mr. President should look into those situations that yes, on Wike we need to do his job, but it can be done in a more civilized manner. And what is the meaning of a more civilized manner? It's not every time you enforce the law by violence, in quote now, that probably the submission of Mr. Segun showing me is that Wike ought not to even leave his office at all. Maybe he might have just made a call to the Minister of Defense, who will then speak to whoever is there, and then they will have moved away even from where they are standing. Who knows? Or maybe Wike will have, probably approached the so-called retired chief of naval staff, which in my opinion is not correct, because he's the one that needs something and supposed to approach the government. And then knowing fully well that for Wike to achieve some successes in FCT, it was so herculean a task that he had to force his way through. Some people may not like it, but then to a large extent, to a Wike, if he doesn't do that, he won't be able to perform excellently as he ought to perform. If you want to go the route of going to the court of law, he might spend 3-4 years in court, and the tenure will end, and then the man will not be able to show anything for the job given to him. And he is, as a performer as he is ready to make sure that he presents right score sheet to the president. Whoever asks is God. That is the nature of his on Wike, and that is what Mr. Segun Shomi is calling attention of the president to. Of course, we will not exonerate the military for doing what they do. It's an unnecessary affront, and they need to be very careful. And from the explanation we heard, from what Wike's aide said, it seems as if the military might be in the wrong here. But at the end of the day, I think Mr. President might eventually need to look into the matter and make the necessary correction, and then also warn whoever and make a deterrent where necessary. Keep liking our channel. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure you share. Thank you.